Hi, I'm the Lockpicking Cuber, and as you can perhaps see, I bought a bunch of puzzles from this company called Logica Giochi. I think that's how to say it. This is their catalogue. You can find them online. They're an Italian company specialised in the distribution of wood and metal brain puzzles, logic games, and wooden board games. They have all kinds of fun stuff, but I guess the bit that really caught my eye particularly was towards the end, the tricky padlocks. Now, I actually have to confess I can't remember what I ordered from them, but I ordered these 5, which I'm pretty sure are all puzzles. I can see what this one is. It's one of those Siebenstein Spieler puzzles. It's called Lock 64. I can just read that through the bubble wrap. The other 4 I can't remember. They also sent me these little tiny metal puzzles, each of which was really easy to solve, but still they're nice fun little items. I didn't order them, so I guess they were free gifts, so thank you to them. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one of these 4 at random. I'm not going to do this one because I have a feeling this is a really intimidating and difficult one, which I'll leave for another time. But for now, I'll just go for whatever this first one is. I have no clue really what it is. Let's have a look. Get into this. Oh wow, look at this. That is really beautiful. Okay, so we have a padlock. It's heart-shaped. Comes with a single key and no obvious keyway, nowhere to insert the key. It's interesting, the padlock is obviously made of these sort of laminated layers of steel, but which have been, I don't know what has happened here exactly. Oh no, maybe they're not. Maybe it's a single layer of steel actually that's just been cut to look like layers. Anyway, there we go. That's the puzzle. We have these sort of balls here on the front, these little rose fittings on there, some rivets holding the handle there together, and quite a pretty looking key. So yeah, really no obvious way in. So let's see if I can solve this. Oh, I must not forget the timer this time. I'm very bad at remembering the timer. All right, let's see. So the first thing I'm noticing is these balls. Okay, they're not connected to each other because I'm turning this one and that one isn't turning. Let's see if that's true here as well. Yeah, so they both turn. They feel like, oh yeah, this is unscrewing. Okay, now my experience of unscrewing things on puzzles is decidedly mixed. Sometimes it's exactly what you're intended to do, and sometimes it is not. But given that, oh wait a minute, this one, no, maybe they're all unscrewed, do they? Oh dear, I don't like this. I hope this is part of the solution. If it's not, and you make puzzles like this with screws that you can remove, please just, glue them in place or something. Or provide some instructions. Let's see, I'm hoping this is what I'm intended to do. I guess the other thing I should do is take the key off. Have a little look at it. So having removed those pins, 3 of them, there's still one left. Let's get that one out as well. I don't think, oh is it? I can feel something happening up here. It feels a little looser, no? Oh, that's still pretty solid. It doesn't feel like that's really made any difference. Okay, that gives me some comfort that is okay, either intended or not bad. But wow, it's really not obvious at all where this key is going to go. I'm just going to have a look at the key. No bitting really at all, and I guess this sort of tooth has been welded on rather than it being a single piece of steel, and the same with the handle up here. There's a hole down there. It's kind of hard to see how far that goes, but it sort of looks like maybe this piece is hollow. Yeah, I don't think that's the trick. Okay, so I'm just noticing, yeah, these little flowers I think are glued into place, which further reinforces the idea that taking these out is intended. It feels like the shackle is very, very firmly held in place, but tiny little bit of give over on this side, I think. So I think that's where it's going to open. But it's interesting that this screw had nothing to do with holding it in place. Now there's also this little fella here. What's that about? Yes, I can't push that. I wonder if there's any magnetism happening. Doesn't seem super likely, but you never know. I guess not all these would do something to each other, right? Okay, so I feel like, do you know what? I think I've just had an idea. I think that these markings on the side are here to fool you into thinking that the whole thing is layers and that, you know, they're all equal, whereas I think this layer looks different to me. I wonder if I'm right. There's just this big gap here. I can't remember if that came as a result of removing the screw. Maybe it did. Yeah, I think it probably did. But also, it just looks, I mean, it just clearly is a separate layer, and so is this one. And then I think, I can't really tell if these are or not. Maybe they are and they've just got sort of welding or something connecting them, but I don't think so. I think they are actually just one big layer, big fat layer, this one. And then another separate layer here. So I'm just sort of wondering if there's some kind of shearing movement or, ooh. And this layer has a little break in it here. You see that? Oh, what difference that's going to make. I don't want to press all these layers and see if any of them will move that way. Maybe not. It's not going to be these middle ones, I don't think. Let's try over this side. Oh. Wait a minute, that just moved. That distinctly moved. Oh yeah, this layer. Oh, hang on a minute. This is moving. I think this is probably what we're supposed to do. I can't tell if it's just very stiff or if I'm not quite doing it right. No, okay, it's not that layer, it must be this layer here, or is it the, I think it's this attached to this brass layer. Oh yeah, that's right, and then this layer here is the third layer actually, which I think is not moving. I mean, surely this is... Right, it might not be even right. It might just be that I've removed the screws that I'm not supposed to remove. Oh dear. I don't know. Now, given that they have glued these flowers down, I'm going to assume that they could have glued these screws down if they didn't want you to remove them, and that therefore you are meant to remove them. And that therefore this layer sliding a little bit is part of the plan. I also wonder if all the flowers are glued down. I think they probably are, but twisting the flowers seems extremely difficult to get any kind of grip on them. I don't think that would work, no. I'm also noticing, oh, there's a tiny little screw there. How did I not notice that? I guess that's not going to be easy to unscrew. Also press on these little things here. No. I think that's doing anything. Alright, well, interesting. So, 7 minutes in, I've removed these 4 screws. Obviously, I don't really know if I was supposed to do that. Wait a minute, are they all the same length? Just sort suddenly wonder if I'm supposed to put them back a different way around, but no, I think they are basically the same length. I mean, the difference between them is tiny, I think. So I don't think that's the idea. I don't think we're supposed to push this. Rip it out, are we? Right. No. Okay. I really want to move this layer, but am I just twisting it the wrong way or something? See, it's a little hard to tell. Is it moving laterally or is it twisting? I think it's actually twisting around this, maybe. Yeah, I wonder if I just have to use a bit more force on it to get it to move. Sometimes this is the way with these puzzles, they require more force than you think. This puzzle is, again, I've had this with one or two other puzzles, it's quite covered in oil. And I guess the intent of the oil is to make the pieces move, to lubricate them, but that doesn't necessarily always work, especially for a puzzle like this. You want things to be reasonably tight. You don't want there to be obvious clues, necessarily. Right, so this is moving... Oh! Okay, it moves that way. I think this is just quite stiff. But it is moving now. I'm guessing there's going to be a keyhole there. So how am I going to get to it? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, is it like a sort of a maze, effectively? I'm going to move these. Which bolts are staying in place? I think this bolt is moving along some channel. Look at that, we can almost get the key in there, maybe. Probably not quite yet, though, no, not quite. Okay, so good, this is exciting. Clearly, the idea is to move this front plate. And I think, look at this, right. Down in there is a little hole, and I'm going to bet that's the end of a channel that this is going to move down. So what we're doing is we're following a set of paths, or a path here, and you can see the equivalent channel for this one. So probably some of these bolts, just the flowers don't go anywhere, they just sort of sit on the surface, which is why they're glued on, actually, to make it look like they go all the way through, which they don't. Some of them do go in and they stop the movement, but you can move them down these little channels. I can see another one, there's another channel here. Oh no, that's the keyhole, sorry. So there's a channel this way. Okay, so that implies that we want this to move this way now. It doesn't want to go. No, it doesn't. Okay, so... This is cunning. I like this. Cunning and fun, and I'm so relieved that taking these out was intended. Right, yeah, you can't move this plate without taking the front ones off. I guess taking the back ones off doesn't make any difference, but it's okay, they're just sort of like a red herring. Now there's this really interesting trick of how we get this the rest of the way. So from here we can move this down. Okay, yeah, and I can see the channel. That one goes up that way. Does that then make it possible to move something else in another direction? No. I think that's the trick though, we're sort of moving probably these two, maybe that one as well, I don't know, through a maze to get it so that this dip in the sort of fleur-de-lis shape is over the keyhole. And I think once we've got that over the keyhole, it's partly over the keyhole here, but we've got to somehow maneuver the plate further to the left to expose the whole of the keyway, and then I think we'll be able to put the key in, and I'm guessing that will be it. But who knows? All right, I'm going to stop talking now and just see if I can maneuver this thing. is it just going to come? Yeah. Okay, I suddenly realized what was happening. The channel doesn't curve. I was thinking it was like a curving channel, but in fact it just goes straight that way. Okay, yeah, and you can see the channel for this one as well. That's interesting. I'm going to assume that's nothing, but we'll see. Let's have a look. Is this just going to open now, maybe? Nope, nothing at all. So there's more to it, I think, probably. Or is it just very stiff? No, I felt something move. But it is not enough to open it. So I'm guessing we have to do something with that, but hang on, let me just check this again. I can feel it throwing something, some bolt. I can see in there. Let's just get a bit more light on that, shall we? So you can see this happening. When I turn the key, it sort of pulls the shackle in towards the body of the lock. So I don't quite know what's happening there. Do I have to maybe put that back? No. That doesn't seem to make sense. So that goes down. And then it goes across. Yeah, that's straightforward. Can't go any further. No. Okay, so now this thing. Oh, look. There's a square on the end of this key, I think. Oh, that's so clever. Look at that. Whew. Lovely. Okay, this is one of those very satisfying puzzles. Has that done it, maybe? Oh, look, that sort of freed this a little, I think. There we go. I see. So it was still held in place. So I was freeing, the key frees up the left-hand side of the shackle, and then this bolt frees up, or nut, frees up the right-hand side of the shackle. So there we go. What a classy puzzle. That was great fun. Let me just put this back together. So I guess that's locked that side in. Now I need to use the back of the key to lock this side in. Now, I often think about this with these kinds of lock puzzles. This one, maybe more so than any of the others, would make a pretty good lock for security purposes. Obviously, if you have one and you know the solution, then that's no good. So you're relying on its obscurity, which is not a very safe idea if the thing really matters, or if you've got a really, devoted attacker. But for general purposes, locking up a cheap bike, tedious and painful to get it open for sure. So please don't take this as a recommendation, but it wouldn't necessarily be a completely ridiculous idea. Some of the lock puzzles that you see are obviously made of wood or plastic, and in those cases clearly they are just a puzzle for fun. But some of these very solid metal ones, they could inadvertently be used for security purposes. I'm noticing, by the way, the similarity between this puzzle and this one. So they've both got these flower-shaped bolts. They both have, the keys are not quite identical, but pretty similar. There's a difference obviously with the square here, but also the where the bitting would be is longer on this key, but otherwise very similar. And they both even come with the same kind of string, so I guess these are made by the same people, whoever that may be. Okay, here we go. So the lock actually features in the catalogue, not surprisingly, I guess. And it is called the Ironheart Brass Lock, and they give it 5 difficulty diamonds out of 6. I assume that's a difficulty rating. But anyway, it was a very nice fun puzzle. I love these really solid, nicely made, brass and steel lock puzzles. Like I say, you could choose to use it as a lock if you wanted to, but I'm definitely not recommending that, obviously, from a security point of view. But having said that, it's probably better security than quite a lot of real padlocks that are on the market, to be completely honest. So there we go. That was the Iron Heart brass lock, which I got from this Italian company, Logica Giochi. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I've still got 4 more puzzles from the same place, which I'll review in following videos. I hope you've enjoyed watching me solve this one. If you did, and you'd like to see more of these kinds of puzzles, or other kinds of puzzles being solved, or locks being picked, then please do hit that subscribe button down there to see more. As ever, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.